Yes. Question number 3 given is discuss these questions. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. हमने क्या देखा इस society में? The society was rigid about the different social groups, says the author. First one is, which social groups does he mention? Were these groups easily identifiable, for example, by the way they dressed? Yes, Chahat beta.
And they mentioned two social groups. First was Muslim and second was Hindu Brahmin family. We can identify them as Muslims wear a cap and Hindus wear a sacred thread.
Yes, we know already. I think this question was discussed already, that there were two social groups which are mentioned in the chapter, the Hindus and the Muslims. And we can identify them because the Muslims, they wore cap. As we are told, Abdul Kalam was also used to wear that particular cap, style of cap. And the Hindus, they had a sacred thread. Now coming to the second part, were they aware only of their differences, or did they also naturally share friendships and experiences? Think of the bedtime stories in Kalam's house of who his friends were and of what used to take place in pond near his house. I think we have discussed this part also. We have already discussed this part also, that there was no difference among these people. They naturally share their feelings of friendship and experience with each other, as we had APJ Abdul Kalam and his three friends. Though they were having different religion, but even then their social group were different, but they were sitting together in the class, they shared their experience. And then we come to know about Kalam's family also, that he used to listen along with his siblings the stories of the Ramayana and the prophets, stories about the life of the prophets. And then we were told about the work of his family, that they used to take the idols from the temple to the marriage site in their boats. The idols, that means the Hindu idols, in their boats from the temple to the marriage site. So we were told like this, that these type of, though there were two social groups, but not much differences were there available. Not in the children, among the children we have found, or neither in the among the children nor among the elders, as they were doing this type of work for the temples, taking the idols from the temples and sending them to the marriage place. Coming to the third part, the author speaks both of people who were very aware of differences among them and those who tried to bridge these differences. Can you identify such people in the text? Yes, Hiteshri beta, yes. Yes, Hiteshri beta, please unmute yourself and answer this third part.
Ma'am, you are asking third part.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, the third part is the author speaks both of people who were very aware of the differences among them and those who tried to bridge these differences. Can you identify these people, such people in the text?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the author speaks both of the I think the school teacher also encourage these differences, and Lakshmana Sastri and Sivasru Mranya Iyer discourage this malpractice.
Who were these two? One, the new teacher who came in the school, and the second was the wife of his science teacher. those who were aware about of these differences and who try to bring these differences, but who tried to bridge these differences, the science teacher and
Ma'am, his science teacher.
yes, his science teacher. And if we talk about the second one,
Shastri.
yes, his father, Ramanand Shastri's father, who also made the teacher understand that these type of differences should not be brought in the minds of children. So we have two people who were aware of the differences, who were trying to create these differences among the children, and then we have two persons who try to bridge these differences. Okay. Next, question number 4. Fourth part, narrate two incidents that show how differences can be created and also how they can be resolved. How can people change their attitudes? Yes. Neat call. Yes, beta. Neat call.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Fourth part.
Fourth part is narrate two incidents that show how differences can be created and how they can be resolved, how people change their attitudes. Uh, the new teacher encouraged the different communal differences as he could not stomach a Hindu boy sitting with a Muslim boy, and he created as he created the as and he created the difference between the innocent children's mind and his science teacher Shiva Subramania Iyer bridged these differences as he invited APJ Abdul Kalam to meal in his home, and he also changed his wife's attitude and showed her the right path. And next time, she also welcomed APJ Abdul Kalam.
Yes. We found here two incidents. One about the school new teacher who tried to create the differences among the students by shifting Abdul Kalam to the last seat. He could not tolerate that Hindu boy sitting with the Muslim one. And his father, Ramanand Shastri's father, when the students told all this at home, he just tried to tell that teacher either he should leave the school or the town, or he should not create these type of differences among the minds of the children. So the teacher understood the thing and improved himself. And the second one, we noticed the wife of the science teacher who was feeling discrimination, was having differences in her mind when Abdul Kalam was invited by the science teacher at home for his meal, and she just looked at him when he was having his meal from the door of the kitchen, standing at the back side of the door of the kitchen. And next time, she served him food again with her own hands, because she realized that there was no difference in her eating habits and her eating styles, as Abdul Kalam was thinking about this thing, that she might be noting this thing. And even his science teacher also told him when he invited him for the second time that if we meet these type of people, we need to change their attitude. We will find difficulties and we need to come out of those difficulties. That means to change the attitude of such type of people, we had to face the difficulties. So Abdul Kalam came second time and he was treated in a good way by the wife of his science teacher. In this way, we found that they both changed themselves and the differences were not did not matter for them. Next, question number 2 given. Yes, Ishita beta.
Abdul Kalam wanted to why did Abdul Kalam want to leave Rameshwaram? Abdul Kalam wanted to leave Rameshwaram because he wanted to study at the district headquarters in Ramananthapuram.
Yes, he wanted to leave Rameshwaram because he wanted to go for his higher studies to other places also, to the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. Next, second part. Yes, Hitika beta.
Yes, ma'am. Second part is, what did his father say to this? His father said, Abdul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest?
Yes, his father.
These were the lines said by his father.
Yes, if you can remember these lines exactly, then put them in inverted commas. Otherwise, you can change this statement into indirect form also, and you can change it according to your own wording with the same meaning. Because sometimes you don't remember the exact word, so it is better to write in the indirect form. Okay, his father
Okay, ma'am.
told him that he knew he had to go away to grow, and then he gave him the example of the seagull who used to fly in the sun, in the sky, without any nest. So he wanted Abdul Kalam to be independent. Next question, third part. Yes, Lavanya beta.
Yes, ma'am. What do you think these words mean? Why do you think he spoke those words? He spoke these words because he intended to polish his skills. He knew the harsh reality of the life, and the children may have to live far from their parents to make their career and earn their livelihood. So he showed his wisdom and intelligence in these words.
Yes. In the second part, you can add the lines of Khalil Gibran also, as were given by his father to convince his mother that children have their own thoughts, their own life. So they should be allowed to follow their thoughts, their desires and aims. So father said all this because he was very wise man and he wanted the growth and the progress of his child in his future, in his career. So he allowed him by saying these lines, convincing his mother also and motivating him also. Next, there were some exercises also, which you must complete yourself, and we'll discuss these exercises tomorrow. Okay. Now come to the poem. Now please get ready with your notebooks. You will get a message today, one section, to send your notebooks. So please complete your work, whatever is pending. Okay. Yes, coming to the poem. We have a poem, A Legend of the Northland. And this poem is composed by Phoebe Carey. The name of the poet is Phoebe Carey. So anyone who knew what is a legend? Anyone who can explain the meaning of the word legend? You might have got this word in your list of poetic devices when it was shared with you, and you did the first poem. You were provided a list with all the poetic devices. Yes, no one knows. Don't know what is a legend. Yes, no, beta.
Yes, ma'am. A legend is an extremely famous or a
a special person or who has another level of mind?
Yes, it is just like a story. Story related to some ancient or the past events. Yeah. Come to the back of your poem. At the end of the poem, you get one more definition of another poetic device or the term, that is a ballad. And the meaning of legend is also given. That is old traditional story. Some old traditional story. Yeah, that is legend. And what is a ballad? A ballad is a song narrating a story in short stanzas. Ballad क्या होता है? एक सॉन्ग की तरह पोएम दी जाती है जो कि आपको कोई स्टोरी नरेट कर रही है शॉर्ट स्टैंडर्स में, छोटे छोटे स्टैंडर्स हैं उसके और टेल्स यू सम स्टोरी. Ballads are a part of folk culture or popular culture and are passed on orally from one generation to the next. एक जनरेशन से नेक्स्ट जनरेशन तक आगे आगे फोक कल्चर या पॉपुलर कल्चर जो है वो चलता रहता है. And Legend of the Northland is also a ballad. So if we talk about this poem, it is also a ballad, and we understand what is a ballad. It is a song in which the story is narrated in short stanzas, and ballads are a part of folk culture which passed from one generation to the next. एक जनरेशन से जैसे एक कहानी है कोई पुरानी जनरेशन में सुनी थी वही अगली जनरेशन को पास कर दी गई, that is a ballad. And a legend is also called as an old traditional story. So what we have in this poem, what is the idea or the theme or the message conveyed by the poet in this poem is that we should be kind enough. We human beings should be kind to all the other creatures, to human beings, the animals and the birds also. Nowadays, we people are told that we should feed the birds. बहुत बार आप देखते हैं ना कुछ सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस होती हैं तो उसमें बर्ड्स को फीड करने के लिए आजकल जो सिस्टम चला हुआ है ये आप अपने यूज करते हो पानी के लिए उनके कुछ कटोरे से या आप क्या यूज करते हो उनके लिए कुछ फीडिंग के लिए कुछ अनाज ग्रेन्स वगैरह अपने छत के ऊपर या घर की छत के ऊपर आप कहीं भी इसको बिखेर देते हो तो उस टाइम पे हम क्या सोचकर उनको देते हैं that we human beings are given the duty by God to feed all the creatures because human beings are considered as the supremost creature created by God. So in this way, we people should be kind to all what God has given the good qualities and the brain to human beings that is not with the animals and the birds. So we should be kind to others because if we are provided with all these things, it has some purpose. We should help and support others. This is one theme idea given to you. The rest you will come to know from the poem. The poem narrates the legend of an old lady who angered Saint Peter because of her greed. What is the story about? It is about an old lady who angered, that means who got angry at Saint Peter because of her greed, because the lady was very greedy. लालची थी और वो सेंट पीटर के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा गुस्सा कर लेती है. ऐसी एक स्टोरी जो है आपको इसमें बताई गई है. And the poem is in the form of a story. Away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in winter, and that they cannot sleep them through. Now, the poet is telling us that he is going to narrate you a story about the Northland, which is far, far away, where the hours of the day are few, मतलब जहाँ दिन के घंटे कम होते हैं, and the nights are so long in winter time में nights लंबी होती हैं, that they cannot sleep them through, that they cannot sleep for that much time. इतनी लंबी होती हैं रातें कि वो सो इतना लंबा टाइम तक सो नहीं सकते. That they here refers to the people that they cannot sleep them through, कि वो इतना लंबे टाइम तक नहीं सो पाते. Where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear's cubs in their funny furry clothes. Then we are told about the people of that area who rear the animals also. And what we are told that here they harness for the swift reindeer. Swift means a fast moving, बहुत तेजी से चलने वाला reindeer जो है उसको लोग वहाँ पालते हैं. They rear the reindeer, and to the sledges when it snows जब वहाँ पर बर्फ गिरती है, and sledges means the wheel carts drawn on snow, जो कार्ट्स उनकी गाड़ियां जो हैं पहियों के ऊपर चलती हैं, स्नो के ऊपर बर्फ के ऊपर वो कैसे अपनी गाड़ियों को चलाते हैं. And the children look like bear's cubs in their funny furry clothes, and the children in that area they look like the cubs of bear, जैसे कि वो bear के बच्चे हों, because they are wrapped in furry cloths. सर्दियों में जैसे आप मोटे कपड़े फर वाले जैकेट्स वगैरह पहनते हैं ना, तो in the same way their children are also wrapped in the furry cloths. Furry cloths means the cloths which are made from the skin of the animals. फर के कपड़े बने होते हैं, उनमें बच्चों को लपेटा होता है और वो ऐसे नजर आते हैं जैसे कि बियर के बच्चे हों, बियर कप्स ऐसे वो नजर आते हैं एनिमल्स. पूरी तरह से उनको कपड़ों के साथ लपेटा होता है. So it looks funny. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it is true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. So the poet says they tell them a story, a very strange, curious story, which the poet says I don't believe in it. But if he says I tell you that story, you may learn a lesson from that. Though he does not believe that this story is true, but even then he wants the readers or we people to listen the story and learn some lesson from that. What he says, it is the story which the poet is starting narrating. It says, once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, there was a Saint Peter, good Saint Peter. He lived in the world below, means on the earth, and walked about it. He was roaming here and there, moving here and there, preaching the people just as he did, Knowing that all the saint people used to do, they teach the people, they teach the people some lessons, some moral ideas. So this Saint Peter was also doing the same. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them to on the hearth. And roaming here and there, he came to the door of a cottage, traveling the whole earth. And what he saw, that there was a little woman who was baking cakes. She was baking cakes on the hearth. Hearth क्या होती है? जैसे भट्टी होती है, आग में वो केक्स बना रही थी. ऐसी उसने एक लेडी वहां पर देखी, घूमते घूमते वो जमीन के ऊपर उस कॉटेज में पहुंच गया जहां पर एक लेडी केक बनाती. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one, because he was feeling very hungry, faint with fasting, because he was on fast. That means he had not eaten anything since long. So he was becoming faint, weak, and going to be unconscious. For the whole day he had been roaming here and there. He felt tired. So he asked that lady to give him a cake out of the store which he was having. कि जो उसने cakes बनाकर रखे हुए थे उस store में से उसको एक cake दे दें. He asked from that lady. So, but I am finishing it today here only. We'll continue tomorrow. Please come with the reading, the part that we have read today of the poem and the back exercise of the previous chapter. We solve those back exercise related to the grammar part. Okay, thank you.